Therefore, all of mankind that consider themselves descendants of Adam through Cain are actually considering themselves descendants of the true and living devil, according to Jesus of 2,000 years ago. Because Adam is the father of mankind. He's not the father of all humanity. What I mean by that, if you are Asiatic black man, Adam is not your father. The Asiatic black man has been on the planet ever since creation itself. The Asiatic black man is older than creation because his father is the creator. The Asiatic black man is so old that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us no one can truthfully prove to you when we first came into existence. But now let me go back to this covenant that Abraham God made with Abraham. God told Abraham that his descendants would fall into slavery for 400 years and that he, Abraham God, would come. But he told Abraham that he would come and find them and call them in a particular manner. He told Abraham, he said that I will call your children who are going to do the slavery through Isaac. He said, for in Isaac shall thy seed, Abraham, be called. Meaning that he would call this lost descendants of Abraham who are enduring slavery through the descendants of Isaac. And you have a descendant of Isaac coming by the name, or who came, not coming, who came by the name of Musa. And Musa actually were coming, trying to fulfill Abraham's God word to Abraham. He were a descendant of Isaac's line, and he came out of Isaac looking for Abraham's lost descendants. Because I don't know if you know this or not, Abraham sacrificed his descendants through his firstborn son, Ishmael. He sacrificed Ishmael's descendants down into slavery. And we, Ishmael's descendants, fell down into slavery here in America in the year 1555. We fell down here in slavery. But now let's go back 4,000 years ago with the coming of Musa. Musa came some approximately 4,500 years ago. And Musa came looking for us, Ishmael's seed. And when in his journey looking for us, he went up into the hills and cave sides of the Caucasus Mountains there in Europe. And he found the Caucasian living a beast life, running around, living like the animals. And he civilized them because he thought that those Caucasians who were living a beast life were Abraham's lost children that were doing the slavery. So Musa was mistaken in his assumption of the people he had found. And in him being mistaken in his assumption, he then prophesied. And he put his name on it, that I, Musa, would do battle with Pharaoh, me and my brother. And I, Musa, would cause all these plagues upon Egypt land. And I, Musa, and my brother would, through my God, fight against Pharaoh and bring them out. That was Musa's prophecy. That was not Musa's history. Musa's history were that he went up in the hills and cave sides of Europe, the Caucasus Mountain, and civilized the caveman, the Caucasian, who was living a beast life. Now let us walk further down through the prophets and that came from Isaac's line. You have another prophet coming 2,000 years later, Esau ben Yusuf, Jesus the son of Joseph. That Jesus that most Christians take for a savior, did the same thing that Musa did. He walked from Egypt there down into Palestine, and he began to try to teach the Jews that he found in their vicinity. And upon him staying and teaching among them for 3.5 years, he uncovered that he were not teaching Abraham's lost descendants, the ones that would be there for 400 years down into slavery. He had a conversation with them. You can read about it there in the Bible. And after that 3.5 years, he pronounced them to be of Adam's line. He uncovered that he was teaching the devil's seed. And he told them that. He even had a conversation as to whether or not they were slave children. And the Jews there in Jesus' time, Jesus 2,000 years ago, said to Jesus, he told them, he said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." They replied back, "How sayest thou that we shall be made free when we have not ever been in bondage to any man?" So those Jews in Jesus' time told Jesus that we're not in bondage and we haven't been in bondage. So you can go and read it there in the Bible. It's real simple. Jesus makes a mistake too. I'm trying to get you to see that both Jesus and the prophet Musa came trying to fulfill Abraham's God's word to Abraham. In other words, they were trying to be the God. And even today, because of Jesus having made that mistake, you have a lot of people praising that Jesus, thinking that he was God. Praising that Jesus because that's what God came to do. He came to find Abraham's, or that's what God would come to do. He would come to find Abraham's lost children. But in order for him to find Abraham's lost children, he would have to find the people that were being held in slavery for a period of 400 years. And only people that you can find that has been held in slavery for a period of 400 years and perhaps more are the so-called American Negro here in America. But if you could see what I've told you concerning Jesus 2,000 years ago, concerning Musa, you could see the error that these two prophets made. Both of them were out of Isaac's line. Jesus told them, "I come looking for the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Because Abraham's descendants through Ishmael would be lost. So he prophesies. And he puts his name on it as like Musa, 2,000 years before him, put his name on it. He said, "I, Jesus, would be spat on. I, Jesus, would be hung on a tree. I, Jesus, would bear all these, what they portray to you, lashes, and all of this kind of carrying on for your sins. All of this, I will give my life for those lost children." But what Jesus of 2,000 years ago did was gave his life for the truth that he had taught. That one would come and find the Asiatic black men who were descendants of Ishmael. And he painted it up, Jesus 2,000 years ago, in his prophecy according to his environment. He painted it up according to Rome. He said wherever the eagles are guided, because here I'm in a government that uses an eagle for a sign, there would you find the dead carcass also. He was talking about the spiritually minded dead, which is the spiritually minded dead black men here in America. He called them dead carcass. That's all that is. Symbolic terms that he was using. And the reason most people can't understand the symbolic terms because they want to talk the language of the prophets. You need to know the language of the prophets to interpret the symbolic terms. Or you need to know the truth, because that book was concealed behind the lock or understanding of truth. In order for you to get truth out of the Bible, you got to first have truth in yourself. It was purposely locked that way to misguide or to hide the truth from the untruthful man. By him being untruthful by nature, he couldn't unlock the truth in the book because the book was locked behind the lock of truth. So if you could see why those prophets came, which is actually to fulfill Abraham's word, you could see that it's actually the same story being told over and over again and portrayed in different scenarios according to the different prophets that came. This message is to be continued.